Top 10 watches the rich are secretly buying in 2025. In a world where money whispers and power moves in silence, there are treasures that never make the headlines. Hidden beneath the surface of auctions, private sales, and discreet boutiques lies a world of timepieces. Timepieces that the rich are quietly hunting, collecting, and locking away in safes thicker than castle walls. This isn't about the usual names splashed across glossy magazines. These are the watches you don't see in Instagram ads or on billboards in airports. These are the secret darlings of the wealthy in 2025. The ones that vanish the moment they appear, the ones whispered about at private dinners, the ones passed from one billionaire's wrist to another's collection vault. So lean back, pour yourself a glass of whatever luxury tastes like to you, and join me as we count down the top 10 watches that the rich are secretly buying in 2025. But before we dive in, if you love stories of hidden wealth, luxury, and the mysteries of the watch world, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Ranked 10th, Breguet Tradition 7097 Retrograde Seconds. We begin our journey not with a household name like Rolex or Patek, but with a watchmaker who shaped time itself. Abraham Louis Breguet, the man who invented the tourbillon, who built watches for kings and queens, who defined elegance for centuries. And in 2025, the wealthy are quietly circling back to his legacy, hunting the Breguet Tradition 7097 Retrograde Seconds. At first glance, it looks almost exposed, its movement laid bare on the dial side, gears and bridges revealed like the anatomy of a living creature. The centerpiece is its symmetrical design, a large central barrel, balance wheel at 4 o'clock, and a retrograde seconds hand sweeping in an arc across the top. It is raw, mechanical poetry, yet wrapped in Breguet's unmistakable refinement. Why are billionaires buying it? Because it is history revived. The Tradition line takes direct inspiration from Breguet's pocket watches of the 18th century, watches that once sat in the pockets of Napoleon and Marie Antoinette. Wearing a 7097 today isn't about chasing hype. It's about carrying 250 years of watchmaking DNA on your wrist. Unlike flashy sports models, the Tradition 7097 whispers. Its guilloche dial at 12 o'clock, engraved by hand, glimmers in the light, while its movement pulses with an honesty few modern watches dare to show. And in 2025, when wealth is often measured by who can shout the loudest, the Breguet Tradition 7097 Retrograde Seconds is a quiet revolution. It tells the world, I don't need to be seen by everyone. I only need to be recognized by those who understand. It's not the flashiest start to our list, but it is the perfect one. Because true luxury doesn't always begin with noise. Sometimes it begins with a whisper from history. Ranked 9th, Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Jumbo Extra Thin. At number 9, we step back into the world of icons, not the loud diamond-encrusted kind, but a legend reborn in silence. The Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Jumbo Extra Thin. The Royal Oak is no stranger to fame. It's the watch that redefined luxury in steel back in 1972, when Gerald Genta sketched its octagonal bezel overnight, creating a revolution. For decades, it's been imitated, chased, and worshipped. But the is not just another Royal Oak. It's the closest you can get to the original spirit, ultra-thin, discreet, and devastatingly elegant. On the wrist, it's barely there, sliding under a cuff with a whisper. Its blue, petite tapisserie dial glimmers like ocean waves at dusk, while the extra-thin case, only 8.1 millimeters, makes it feel like time itself has been distilled to its purest form. Inside beats the new caliber 7121, a movement that quietly replaces the legendary 2121, marking both an end and a beginning. Why are billionaires secretly chasing it in 2025? Because it's not about hype anymore. The is allocation only, nearly impossible to find at boutiques, and vanishes instantly at private sales. For the ultra-wealthy, this isn't a watch you flaunt. It's a code you share. Among collectors, slipping off your cuff to reveal Orwam isn't about saying, I'm rich. It's about saying, I understand. In the world of watches, few pieces walk the line between heritage and modernity as perfectly as this one. It's not futuristic like an Uhrwerk, nor celestial like a de Bethune. It's something rarer, timeless, and that's exactly why the rich are quietly securing it before time itself runs out. Ranked 8th, MB&F Legacy Machine Sequential, EVO. At number 8, we step into the world of imagination turned mechanical reality. No brand embodies audacity quite like MB&F, Maximilian Busser and Friends, a collective of mad geniuses who create machines that just happen to tell the time. And in 2025, the ultra-rich are secretly chasing one of their wildest inventions, the Legacy Machine Sequential EVO. At first glance, it looks like something from another world. 2 chronograph displays, twin balances suspended under a high-dome sapphire, and a case that seems sculpted rather than manufactured. But here's the secret. The Sequential EVO is the first ever dual chronograph with independent and simultaneous timing. You can time 2 separate events or even run them together with a push system so ingenious it redefines what a chronograph can be. For collectors with endless access to Rolex and Patek, this is irresistible. The Sequential EVO isn't tradition, it's disruption. It's the kind of watch you don't wear to a gala, but reveal in a quiet conversation on a private jet, watching jaws drop as you explain that it doesn't just tell time, it bends time. Why do the rich in 2025 chase it? Because it's scarce, it's radical, and it carries a kind of intellectual prestige. Anyone can buy a Nautilus if they're willing to overpay. But the MB&F Sequential EVO, you need connections, patience, and a reputation in the collector's circle. On the wrist, it's not jewelry, it's not fashion, it's a statement of imagination made tangible. Billionaires aren't buying it to blend in. They're buying it to remind themselves and each other that true luxury is not possession. True luxury is vision. And in 2025, the MB&F Legacy Machine Sequential EVO is exactly that. A vision of horology's future, ticking defiantly against the traditions of the past. Ranked 7th. Grunefeld, 1941, Remontoire. At number 7, we come to Grunefeld, an independent watchmaker from the Netherlands affectionately known to collectors as the Horological Brothers. And in 2025, the watch that billionaires are silently hunting for is the 1941 Remontoire. At first glance, it looks quite simple. A delicate 39.5mm case, a hand-finished dial with luxurious smoke tones. But hidden inside is one of the most complex and rare mechanisms, the Remontoire d'égalité. A mechanism that ensures energy is evenly distributed to the balance wheel, helping the watch maintain absolute precision throughout its life. What makes the 1941 Remontoire special is not just its technicality, but also its scarcity. Each one is hand-finished by the Grunefeld brothers. Annual production is extremely limited, and most are reserved by prominent collectors. In a world of easily recognizable Rolexes and Nautiluses, the 1941 Remontoire is the opposite. It's unobtrusive, and doesn't draw attention to itself. Instead, it's like a cipher. Only those who truly understand horology will recognize the value behind its seemingly simple dial. Wearing a Grunefeld 1941 Remontoire in 2025 means you're not following trends. You're owning a mechanical masterpiece so rare that it's almost never seen in public. And that's why it's one of the watches that the super rich secretly seek out. Ranked 6th, Patek Philippe World Time, Cloisonné Enamel. At number 7, we step into Geneva once more, but this time into the quiet gilded salons of Patek Philippe. While the Nautilus and Aquanaut are the watches plastered across social media, in 2025, the true elite are hunting something far rarer, the World Time Cloisonné Enamel. This is not a sports watch for the masses. This is horology as art. On the dial, instead of guilloche or diamonds, lies a miniature masterpiece, Cloisonné Enamel, painstakingly crafted by hand, depicting a map of the world in vivid blues and greens. Each dial is unique, no two exactly alike, and each one takes weeks of microscopic labor to complete. The complication itself is poetic, a world timer. With a glance, you can see the time across 24 cities, a perfect companion for the billionaire who wakes up in New York, dines in Paris, and closes deals in Singapore. all in the same week. But the magic of the 5231J isn't in its functionality. It's in its discretion. On the wrist, it doesn't scream wealth. It whispers culture. It signals that the owner values craftsmanship, history, and beauty above hype. In 2025, this watch is trading hands quietly, far above retail, among collectors who already own every steel Nautilus imaginable. To them, the 5231J isn't just a watch, it's a painting you can wear. And perhaps that is the greatest luxury of all, to carry art on your wrist, knowing that only a handful of others on Earth can say the same. The Patek Philippe World Time 5231J isn't about conquering time. It's about owning the world, elegantly, silently, and without ever having to raise your voice. Ranked 5th, Lang & Söhne Triple Split. At number 6, we stay in Glashütte, the land where German watchmaking rivals, and sometimes surpasses, the Swiss. Here lives a Lang & Söhne, the brand of precision, restraint, and obsessive craftsmanship. And among their arsenal of horological marvels, one stands apart as a whispered legend, the triple split. Most collectors have heard of a split seconds chronograph, a watch that can time 2 events simultaneously. Lang looked at that and asked, why stop there? The triple split is the world's only mechanical watch capable of timing 3 separate intervals at once: hours, minutes, and seconds. Think about that for a moment. Imagine timing not just 2 runners in a race, but 3 marathons unfolding across different horizons. It is a complication so unnecessary, so impossibly complex, that it becomes irresistible to those who already own everything else. To the billionaire collector, the triple split is not a tool. It's a proof of dominance. On the outside, it's restrained. A platinum or pink gold case, a dial that whispers rather than shouts. But beneath the sapphire back, the movement is a cathedral of mechanics, hundreds of parts, hand-engraved, dancing in a choreography of gears and levers that only a handful of watchmakers on Earth can assemble. In 2025, these are never found in shop windows. They change hands privately, moving from one vault to another, often never seeing daylight. For the owner, it is not about wearing it. It is about knowing you own the only watch in history that can command 3 timelines at once. The Lang & Söhne triple split is not luxury in the ordinary sense. It is excess transformed into art, precision stretched into impossibility. And that is exactly why the ultra-wealthy are chasing it in silence. Ranked 4th, Breguet Marine Équation Marchante 5887. At number 4, we circle back to the house of Abraham Louis Breguet, the man who gave horology its heartbeat with the tourbillon, and whose name still carries an aura of kings and emperors. In 2025, the billionaires are not chasing the predictable Breguet classique. They are secretly hunting a far rarer treasure, the Marine Équation Marchante 5887. At first glance, it looks like a refined marine chronometer, handsome, balanced, elegant. But beneath that dial lies one of the most poetic complications in all of watchmaking, the equation of time. While most watches track civil time, the 5887 also displays solar time, the time dictated by the sun itself. On the wrist, it reveals the difference between man's clocks and the universe's rhythm. Its architecture is a masterpiece, a perpetual calendar encircling the dial, a tourbillon at 5 o'clock, and the golden cam of the equation of time visible through sapphire, shaped like the figure 8 curve of the sun's annual path. Every detail, from the guilloche waves engraved by hand to the bridges sculpted with marine motifs, whispers of heritage and craftsmanship. Why are billionaires secretly chasing it? Because it speaks not of wealth, but of knowledge. Anyone can wear a diamond-set Rolex, but to wear a Marine Équation Marchante is to say, I measure time not as the world tells me, but as the cosmos truly dictates. It is intellectual prestige disguised as elegance. In 2025, these watches rarely see daylight. They move from one vault to another, passing quietly between collectors who already own every Nautilus, Daytona, and Royal Oak. For them, the 5887 is not about being seen. It is about holding a fragment of celestial truth on the wrist. The Breguet Marine Équation Marchante 5887 is not just a complication, it is philosophy made mechanical. And in the secret world of the wealthy, there is no greater luxury than owning not only time, but the universe's true time. Ranked third, de Bethune DB28RXP Starry Sky. At number 3, we leave the world of tradition and step into a dream. This is de Bethune, a house that doesn't just make watches, they make visions of the cosmos. And in 2025, the watch that billionaires whisper about, quietly passed from one collector to another, is the DB28XP Starry Sky. It doesn't look like any watch you've ever seen. Its case is titanium, feather-light yet strong. Its lugs are spring-loaded, hugging the wrist like a tailored suit. And the dial? A deep midnight blue created through flame-blued titanium, scattered with tiny white gold pins. Each watch is made to order, and the constellation isn't random. It's customized to mirror the night sky on a date chosen by the owner. A birth, an anniversary, a secret memory, frozen in stars and worn on the wrist. That's why the rich chase it. Not because it shouts, but because it whispers something only they know. Unlike a diamond-encrusted Rolex, the DB28XP Starry Sky doesn't say, "I am wealthy." It says, "I have a piece of the universe that belongs to no one else." Turn it over, and the back reveals another secret, the balance wheel, a futuristic, almost alien architecture, beating like a mechanical heart from another galaxy. It's a reminder that this watch isn't just a timekeeper. It's a portal. In 2025, billionaires in Silicon Valley, Dubai, and Hong Kong are hunting these pieces not through boutiques, but through back-channel whispers and invitations to de Bethune's ateliers. Because owning a Starry Sky isn't about buying, it's about being chosen. The de Bethune DB28XP Starry Sky isn't just a watch, it's a private galaxy. And for the rich, that's the ultimate luxury, to not just own time, but to wear the heavens. Rank second, Hublot MP05 LaFerrari Sapphire. At number 2, we leave the world of classic horology and step into something that looks more like a hypercar engine than a wristwatch. In 2025, billionaires are quietly chasing the Hublot MP05 LaFerrari Sapphire, a machine so extreme it makes even the boldest Richard Mille look tame. On the wrist, it isn't round, it isn't thin, it isn't discreet. Instead, its entire case is carved from sapphire crystal, transparent like glass, exposing a movement that looks like a V12 engine laid bare. Down the center runs a vertical tourbillon, surrounded by a stack of barrels that together power an unheard-of 50-day power reserve, a record in mechanical watchmaking. Time is read not by hands but by rotating cylinders, like gauges on a dashboard. Hours, minutes, seconds, and even the remaining fuel of that monstrous power reserve are displayed like instruments in a cockpit. It is not just a watch, it is a mechanical supercar for the wrist. Why are billionaires secretly hunting it in 2025? Because production is vanishingly small. These pieces never touch boutique shelves. They move directly from Hublot's private rooms to the wrists of hypercar owners, Formula One moguls, and collectors who live in a world where owning a Ferrari isn't enough. You need the Ferrari of time itself. On the surface, the MP05 LaFerrari Sapphire might look like excess, but to the ultra-wealthy, it represents something rarer, the fusion of engineering, design, and audacity in its purest form. It whispers, "I don't just buy speed, I wear it," and in 2025, that is the real secret. For the rich, time is not a clock, it is horsepower. And the Hublot MP05 LaFerrari Sapphire is the ultimate engine of time. In first place, Seiko Credor Eichi II. At number 1, we close the curtain not with Swiss royalty, but with silence from the mountains of Nagano, Japan. In 2025, the ultimate secret grail the rich are chasing isn't a Patek or a Dufour. It is the Seiko Credor Eichi II. On paper, it looks like almost nothing. 3 hands, a porcelain white dial, no complications, no diamonds, no fireworks. But look closer, and you see why billionaires whisper its name. The dial is pure hand-painted porcelain, crafted at the Nortake Porcelain Studio, with each Credor logo brushed by a single artisan. The blue hands are flame-heated to perfection, and beneath that serene surface lies a spring-drive movement assembled by the micro-artist studio, the same atelier that built Seiko's legendary chiming masterpieces. Every bridge is finished with anglage so perfect it rivals Philippe Dufour. Every edge, every jewel, every screw is touched by hand until it gleams like water in still moonlight. Why do the ultra-wealthy chase it? Because in a world drowning in hype, the Eichi II is the purest expression of watchmaking. Silence, restraint, and Zen-like devotion to perfection. It is not about showing wealth, it is about wearing peace. In 2025, these watches are never seen in shop windows. They are allocated quietly, piece by piece, to collectors who already hold everything else. Owning one is not about money, it is about patience, humility, and access to a workshop where time is treated like art. The Seiko Credor Eichi II is not luxury in the Western sense. It is Japanese wabi-sabi transformed into horology, and that is why it takes the #1 spot. Because the truest expression of wealth is not to shout, but to whisper eternity on a porcelain dial. And so, we close the vault. From hidden German masterpieces to surrealist French rebels, from featherweight marvels to cathedral chimes, these are the watches the rich are secretly chasing in 2025. What do they all have in common? Not the price tag, not the brand, but the story. The story that lives inside every case, every dial, every heartbeat of ticking steel. Because in the end, the rich are not just buying watches, they are buying time itself. Time to own, time to hide, time to remember. If you've made it this far, you already know. This isn't just about watches, it's about the secret theater of wealth. And if you want to stay close to that stage, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, keep your eyes on the wrist and your heart on the story.